Okay, let's get this started then. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. Thanks for joining us here live on the Unwrapped Sports Network. My name's Callum Squires, and here today with one of the newest members of the Miami Dolphins, defensive back Kader Kohou. Kader, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here. First things first, congratulations. Obviously, been an incredible couple of weeks for you here with the news of
Most
signing with the
definitely.
Dolphins. How are you, first and foremost?
Nah, I'm doing good. Just enjoying it. It was fun at first, but now it's like we're ready to get back to work. Just a stick.
For sure. And you said to me before we started that you were headed to Miami for rookie minicamp later this
On
week, and we'll get into that. But so are you just at home right now getting ready?
Yeah, just at home working out. I work out at the same place I was working out at for the pre-draft process. So yeah, just at home, just and then taking classes too online. So trying to finish all that up.
No, for sure, man. That's great. It's a chance to try and finish off the education. And is that
Yeah.
something that's really important to you to try and finish that degree at the same time as obviously playing at the next level?
Yeah, I graduated already with my bachelor's,
Uh-huh.
so I'm getting my master's right now. It's really important to me and my family to make sure I grad that. So yeah, I'm trying to finish that before I go off.
No, for sure, man. And obviously, hey, I mean, you mentioned your family, and really, I think that's something that I really want to kind of start on and focus on here is just how important your family is to you. Because for people who may not be aware, obviously, we're going to go through your whole kind of story here of growing up and eventually ending up in the NFL with the Dolphins. But it's a pretty remarkable story. So, first things first, where did you and your family? Where did you grow up with your family?
I was born in Ivory Coast. It's a country in like West Africa a little bit. I grew up there. I lived with my mom, my dad, my sisters, a couple of my cousins. So for the most part, like my whole family's still out there. And I only moved to the States with my mom, my dad, and my sister. And I have like some aunts and cousins here, but for the most part, my whole family is still back there.
I mean, that's amazing, and
Yeah,
Abidjan, right? I read that somewhere.
exactly.
Abidjan. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the pronunciation down. It's it's
Nah. You
difficult,
did a pretty
obviously.
good job.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's it's an incredible story for you to move from the Ivory Coast and from Africa all the way to the US and have the successes that you've had. What was kind of the reasoning behind the move in the first place for your family, kind of looking to move towards the States?
The biggest thing was more so like opportunities. Just get like a better chance at getting a better life.
Hmm.
So we loved it out there, but it's a little difficult. And my dad always wanted to come out here. He always used to ask my aunt's been living out here way longer than us, and he always used to ask her for like invitations to just come out here and visit. And it never worked out for him. So just one day he was just like downtown, and they were having like a lottery. You put your name in, and if you get picked, you just all you have to do is pay some money, get passports and visas and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So he when he seen that it just became something to do to get a better opportunity for him and his kids. Mostly for us because he was a little older, but yeah,
For sure. And
yeah.
so you have how many brothers and sisters?
I moved out here with one sister. I left one in Africa, and then I had two brothers that were born here.
So a big family as well. I mean, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah, most
you know,
definitely.
what was that family dynamic like growing up, and was there, was it difficult? Obviously, like you said, leaving one sibling back home in Africa and traveling with one to the States.
So my dad, all my sisters are on my dad's side, and then my little brothers are with my mom. So the sister that we moved with here, she lived with us for the most part. But my other sister, she was off with her mom and her stepdad. So we saw each other a lot, but it was like I don't want to say immediate family, but the family that lived with us, we took
Mhm.
everybody with us,
I
and
see.
we
I
just
see.
left like cousins and stuff like that. Yes, sir.
And so when you arrived, well, actually, before we even get to you arriving, I read. Actually, I think I heard it in an interview you did with the Texas A&M Commerce YouTube channel that you said
Yeah,
you wanted to be a pilot when you were growing up. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. That was like
What was the story there?
I don't know. I always was fascinated with planes and flying and stuff like that. And it was always cool seeing like we dropping people off at the airport. You see a pilot just pulling his bag through the airport, and he's the one that gets to fly the plane. So when I was a kid, I always just wanted to do that, just being in the air, just flying all the time. But I don't know, I kind of lost the love for it. But on the ride here, that was like my first time ever getting on the plane. So when I got on, it was like surreal just being on the plane, and I kind of got to like talk to the pilot for a little bit and go in the front and just look around. But yeah, that was crazy.
So that's a big day for a number of reasons because you get to play
Yeah,
pilot for a little bit and move to the
man.
US as well.
Yeah. So it was a great day for me.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
And so obviously, leaving Ivory Coast. Well, again, let me focus in on Ivory Coast for one more question. Growing up there,
Yes, sir.
American football is probably not American football as we call it in Europe. Football,
Yeah.
obviously, in the US is
Yeah.
probably not at the top of the lists of sports in the Ivory
Man,
Coast.
it's non-existent. I promise I did not know anything about the closest thing I probably knew to football was rugby. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole lot of soccer, track, and a little bit of basketball. Like I did not know football existed until I got out here.
So rather than watching Tom Brady growing up, you were probably watching Didier Drogba,
Drogba,
Yaya
stuff like
Toure,
that.
those guys.
Yeah. But
Okay,
what's
yeah.
crazy, like I like soccer, but I never really had a love for it. So
Mhm.
sometimes, like I know when Ivory Coast was playing in like the World Cup and stuff like that, like the whole city is shut down, everybody would be inside watching. And then I just didn't have too much of love for it, so I'd be like the only kid still outside. Everybody's inside watching soccer, and I'm not just too fascinated by it. So I guess it was meant to be for me to move out here and find football.
You're destined for something bigger, right? I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
So okay, then we leave Ivory Coast, and the
Yes, sir.
soccer fandom that is amazing there, but we leave that behind, and
Yeah.
we obviously head stateside.
Hmm.
How difficult was it, settling in at obviously age 9 to kind of a new school system and everything that goes with that? Was that something that was really, really hard to do?
I wouldn't say just super hard. The biggest difference was just the language barrier. Like it wasn't too hard to make friends and stuff like that. But the schooling system in Ivory Coast is a little faster than here. So when I moved out here, I was 9, and the grade that I was in Africa compared to here would have put me straight in like 8th grade. So I was 9. We went to the school. They were like, "Nah, he can't be that young," and put him in 8th grade because some of the other kids might bully him because I was little. So they said that, so they took me. I got here like in the middle of the school year, so I went to a school for 5th grade. I was in a lot of ESL classes, so that really helped me understand the language barrier. But just getting integrated with like the living lifestyle and stuff like that. I met a couple friends that spoke French a little bit. They was from like the Congo, so they spoke French a little bit. So I kind of got closer to him, and he helped me kind of figure my way around. But the language barrier was probably the biggest part, and just sometimes going out, like even at the school, like at lunch and stuff, I didn't know what to eat. It was so it was a little difficult at first, but I got the hang of it. I want to say it took me a little under a year to kind of like learn English, and then after that, it became kind of normal.
And the first question I should have asked really was, where did you arrive in the US when you first got
Uh,
here?
we moved. We as soon as we moved in with my aunt. She stayed in Euless, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'd seen Euless on some of your profiles. I just wasn't sure
yeah,
if that was the first place you arrived. So obviously,
yeah, most definitely.
Ivory Coast to Texas.
Yes,
I
sir.
think maybe the only similarity is hot weather. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing. That was the only thing.
So obviously getting into a school system and school situation, that's probably a very intense way to learn English and make friends, but probably
Yeah,
helpful in itself in terms of you really sink or swim. You have to kind of get to know people quickly
yeah,
and learn how to speak the language.
exactly. So I'm
Okay.
glad I did it that way. I'm glad I didn't just like not go to school and take English classes at home and try to learn. I'm glad it just threw me in there and threw me in the fire just for me to, you feel me, like you said, sink or swim.
And so in that school environment, was sports and was football one of the first things that really kind of clicked with you, or did that come a little bit later on?
So when I first got here, 5th grade. I don't know how it is in other states, but down here, the only kind of football you can really play is at recess, or like there's not really organized school football at that age yet. So I was really just playing a whole lot of soccer. That's really how I met a lot of friends, because I was like I said, I didn't really like soccer, but I was a little decent at it. So even at recess and stuff like that, playing with the other kids, they kind of saw that I had skills, so they'll just ask me around like, "Oh, how do you know how to play soccer?" And I tell them I'm from Africa. That's how I made a lot of friends. But football didn't really come around until I was like till after that summer, me going into the 6th grade. I was playing around the neighborhood because, like I said, we were living with my aunt for a little while. In the apartment she lived in, there weren't too many kids for me to just make friends with. So it's like I go to school and come right back home and just stay inside. So when me and my family moved out, We got our own apartment. We moved into this little neighborhood that had like a lot of kids like my age. So that's when football got introduced to me.
And was that something that you just clicked with straight away? Did you, because I mean, for someone who's originally from the UK,
Yes,
learning
sir.
the rules of football could be quite difficult at times for certain people. There's a lot to learn, especially if you're
Yeah,
starting from scratch. So,
yeah.
was it difficult to pick it up? Did you naturally find that you had a talent straight away?
I was fast and quick and stuff like that. So when we played around the neighborhood, it wasn't too many rules. You'll play it's called like crush the carry. I don't know what it's called everywhere else, but you just throw the ball in the air. Whoever catches, you just have to try to run away from everybody else. That's how I kind of fell in love with it, just being fast and quick and running around. So actually, I did that for like a while. So I kind of started learning football, but I didn't play organized football until eighth grade. So like 3, 4 years deep. That was like my first time playing organized football. That's when I learned what like formations and defense, offense. But for the most part, it was just playing around the neighborhood, just playing catch and stuff like that.
And so obviously kind of the skill set of grabbing it with your hands and taking it back the other direction is something that you've
Yeah,
had for a long time, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so leading on from that, you start the organized football.
Yes, sir.
Was there a particular moment where you thought, this is something I'm really good at? Was there a coach who told you, hey, with the right coaching and training, this is something that can lead to, or did it just kind of process naturally for you?
Uh, nah, it wasn't like that at all. Like I didn't. The NFL dream didn't come along until way later down the line. So
Okay.
it was just playing football just for fun. Just a lot of my friends played it. I played it, and like I said, eighth grade was my first time playing organized football. All the other kids they played like Pop Warner, played as little kids. When they came in, they were a little more advanced than me. So we had 4 teams in the seventh grade. Like the A team was the best team, then the B team was the second to best, C team was the third best, and then D team was the very least one, and that's the team I was on. I didn't really understand it. Yeah,
I'm
that
sure
was
there's not that many people who make it from D team to the NFL, right?
yeah, nah.
I mean, that's an amazing story. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you're going through to high school.
Yeah,
In that high school experience, obviously, at some point college has to be floated as a suggestion.
yeah.
Is that something that was the expectation for you and your family, or was college something that kind of became possible based on you having the skill set in athletics?
Nah, I was going to college regardless. Even football didn't help or not. So I started applying to colleges since my junior year. Because like I said, even when I got to high school, I was still on the lowest team we had until my senior year. So I was like on the very last team we had my 10th grade year, and I was on the second to last my junior year, and then I didn't play like with the big leagues until I was a senior. So like getting a scholarship and stuff was like the last thing on my mind. So I was applying to school, just hoping I could get a academic scholarship and stuff like that. And the offers came real late, so I was gonna go to college regardless.
For sure, for sure. And with that kind of recruiting process,
Mhm.
or I guess looking at colleges, for you, what were you looking for in a college, and how did you end up with A&M Commerce being the option for you?
Oh, you saying academically or athletically or both?
Both, yeah. Kind of the whole process. Was there one thing that kind of took you there over another option, or when
To
you
commerce?
first started looking, what was kind of your thought process?
So, like I said, at first I was just looking at schools just for academics. So I was just looking at any school that would kind of give me some kind of money and that was close to home, so maybe I could like work and you know stuff like that. But once the offers came, it was more so who I didn't have 30 schools to pick from athletically, so it was like just the best school that came. I had like three offers, and then one to Georgetown, but they took it away or ended up not kind of offer because I didn't get a high enough score in the ACT. So commerce was just the best option available. They were good at football, the academics was good, and it was close to home.
And was that something that was really important to you, staying close to the family?
Nah, not at all. If I would have nah, not at all. If I would have got a better option, I would have definitely left.
Okay, but then, all right. So then we stay in Texas,
Hmm.
and head to just outside Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex,
Yeah.
basically, and go to A&M Commerce. Um, for you there, was that at that point, are you fully, settled into American society and you're all good and it's normal, or is there still some kind of, adjustment as you go to college in terms of the culture for you?
Nah, I was good by middle school. So like eighth grade, seventh grade, I was fine. So that was normal for me when I got to college. It was just a different experience, just being away from home, and I didn't know anybody going to that school. Like there's the only person I know that went to that school from my high school was just a regular student. He just went to school with me in high school, and so I didn't know anybody there. Like a lot of those kids, like they went to high school together and they got there. They knew each other through football and stuff like that, but I didn't know anybody.
And so obviously then you're joining, a program in A&M Commerce that, has had success, and you would have very quick success with, which I'm going to touch on in a minute.
hmm
How was kind of your entry into that program, and what was kind of your relationship with the coaches upon your arrival, and had they been really kind of chasing you through the recruitment process?
No, they didn't chase me a lot. Like I actually they didn't reach out to me. I reached out to them and then sent my film over, and then they kind of liked me. That's when they started talking to me. So they didn't really chase me. So when I got there, it was kind of like a new relationship kind of. So we kind of got we had to build on it from from the day I got there. But I enrolled early, so we had a chance like over the summer to kind of meet each other a little more, meet some of the other players on the team, like the older guys, and then some of the guys that were coming in with my class. Going yeah, it was like it was nah, they didn't chase me at all. It was all new, like a whole new relationship.
Did that, to an extent, give you, somewhat of a chip on your shoulder in terms of,
Yeah.
sending your own film out, and how does that motivate you even today?
Nah, that motivates me the most. I feel like I've been underrated like a lot of times. So when I got there, I just knew I had to handle business. Like, but I know when I sent my film and he seen it, he kind of fell in love with me. He was like, "Yeah, you're one of like the best corners on our draft on our recruiting board and stuff like that." So I knew from going from high school, I played 6A high school football. So that's like the best in Texas. So I knew I had the skill set to play with like any of those guys. I just didn't have the opportunities to just go to a bigger school. So when I got there, it was a chip on my shoulder just like prove myself and stuff like that. And I did that. Like when I first got there, it was I had like a good camp. It was just when we got towards the end, it was they started putting in a little bit more complex stuff, and that kind of threw me off. That's the reason I didn't play my freshman year. But from a standpoint of just competing and athletically and stuff like that, it wasn't too much. It wasn't like a learning curve or anything. It was pretty easy.
Did the fact that you were going to a D2 school, which is now transitioning to FCS,
Mhm.
but did that fact of being at a D2 school and maybe not having had the looks from the bigger D1 schools, was that something that you found frustrating? And was it just in your head a case of being underrated, like you said?
Yeah, most definitely. I would love to go to a bigger school and get everything they were getting. So, like being at Commerce, I just felt like an underdog all the time.
Okay. I mean, yeah. So, and obviously, immediate comments, like you said, redshirted first year,
Yeah.
and then sophomore year had a pretty incredible season. Yeah. Do you want to tell the tale of your sophomore year?
Yeah, we ended up winning a national championship. So I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but I played it was like I want to say four freshmen that played a lot, and I was one of them. But I didn't play as much as I wanted to. But it was a great experience. Like the whole year was just we started off like the very first game we beat it was a team that was going D1 the next year, and we beat them by a single point. So from then on, I felt like it was going to be a special season, and then we ended up going to go lose like a lot to our conference rival, and from that point forward, we didn't lose any other game after that. That was like our third game of the season. And after that loss, we just went on to beat everybody else and end up winning the national championship. That was like a great experience and a learning experience too.
I like that you said you didn't play as much as you wanted to, because I had written
Yeah,
down Kader played in at least 11 games for the Lions every season since 2017. So not as
yeah,
much
yeah,
as you wanted to, but in at least 11 games every year.
yeah, exactly.
Always on the field, always making plays.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, so what winning a national championship is something that so many people strive to accomplish at so many
yeah,
levels, and obviously in every single division, only one team wins a national championship every year.
Yeah.
As a former very low level Division III soccer player, I know the pain of not winning national championships.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you? And was that something that kind of made you feel validated in terms of having been part of a championship team?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the biggest thing I learned from that was like I always wanted to get back to it because, like I said, I didn't play a lot, so it was like I was always working hard. Like I want to go back to the national championship because now I'm a starter. Like I'm actually play a lot in the game, so it was always like I had that chip on my shoulder. Like we have to get back to the national championship. I was always working hard and like kind of stand on my teammates a little bit. Like we have to get back. We have to get back. It unfortunately never happened, but that was the biggest thing I drew from that, and then just the hard work and like dedication that was put into that year from like the older guys and like guys that did play a lot. So,
and learning in that environment of having championship success,
yes,
do you think that kind of getting the eyes on the program from being a national champion, do you think that potentially helped lead you into this next stage of your career?
Yeah, most definitely. Coming from D2, any kind of exposure you can get is good exposure. So yeah, winning that national championship, I definitely say that was like a big part of Commerce being on a national stage and people knowing about it because it's like it ain't that it's a lot of it's a lot of football teams in Texas, but I'm not gonna say it's a lot of teams that have had like a lot of success. So just win that national championship, and it was like, oh, there's a team in Texas that won, and then Commerce kind of got his name out there. So I feel like that gave us a lot of exposure. And then we had like that same year we had a Harlan Hill Trophy winner, like the D2 Heisman. So I feel like that put a lot of eyes on Commerce also.
I mean, it's an incredible achievement regardless to win a national championship, and
Yes,
the program Commerce obviously had success as a result. And then I wanted to touch on you yourself had success being the 2021 Lone Star Conference Defensive Back of the Year.
Yes,
Winning an award like that, obviously, football is a team sport. We all recognize that. But how did that really kind of make you feel winning such a prestigious award from the conference and kind of getting that recognition on a conference wide scale?
it was a great accolade. It was a great accolade, but like we didn't have a great season, so it was like I won that. It was like, damn, I won it, but as a team, we didn't really perform as well as I wanted to. But it was a great accolade, just getting that recognition because it's voted on by coaches. So just to say that a lot of those coaches saw me as like the best defensive back in our conference, that just means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and if the coaches recognize that you're one of the guys to avoid, that makes it even harder for you to go out and make plays.
Exactly. So it was like I had this like statistically, this I want to say this was my worst year since I've been at Commerce. But it was the year that I won the Lone Star DB of the year because it was like everybody was avoiding me. I had a whole lot of stats like my sophomore, junior year, and this year I didn't have any stats. So I guess that's why I said that. But
hey, listen, I remember watching NFL playoff games where they just wouldn't throw to Richard Sherman's side. They just
exactly.
would not throw anything because if they did, it was going back the other way. So you take that compliment, right? I guess.
Yeah, most definitely.
Good. And then last thing I want to kind of touch on the whole Commerce experience was getting to play in the Hula Bowl, which, is for people who don't know, do you want to just explain kind of what the Hula Bowl is and what that was about?
Yeah, Hula Bowl is there's a lot of all-star games after the season for like college athletes that are going to enter the draft just to get them more exposures around scouts and NFL personnel and stuff like that. And it was played in Orlando. That was all the Hula Bowl was. There's like 4 or 5 of those type of games like every year.
And obviously, having the opportunity to play in an all-star type situation and get more eyes on you. How was the experience of that week being in that sort of environment?
Nah, it was a great experience just going to Orlando and stuff like that. I've never been to Florida, so that was different. And just being around a lot of guys that did go to like D1 schools. I want to say it was three D2 guys there, and everybody else came from like big D1s like Auburn, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, like those kind of names. And so it was like it was fun seeing my helmet like being a part of those in that group, just coming from a smaller school.
I mean, that's amazing, representing the division as well. That's got to be something. Is that a badge that you carry proudly? Is that something that you kind of, I know you said previously it was kind of a chip on your shoulder, but being a D2 guy who's made it to that next level, is there a part of you that kind of is using that as a representation, saying to people who maybe get underlooked at high school as well, like you know,
Yeah.
hey, if you perform well enough, you can still make this level, and you're kind of being a flag bearer for those people's hopes.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like I always keep that D2. I don't, even though Commerce is going D1 now, I'm always tell everybody I went to a D2. Like when I was there, it was D2. I didn't experience that D1 lifestyle. So I always say that it's definitely. I always want to show people that like wherever you are, no matter what nobody says, like if you're good enough to play in the NFL, they will find you. So yeah, I carry that D2 mark proudly because that's
I
where I
mean,
play. That's where I perform.
100%. And, I think, watching the whole kind of draft process, and we're going to get into Miami and everything as just here in a second, but, watching the draft last week and seeing Cole Strange from Tennessee Chattanooga go in round 1 to the Patriots, that's the biggest example I've ever seen of if you play well, they will find you.
Yeah.
That's something that, and that's something that basically has happened to you, clearly from Commerce to the Dolphins. And so really my next question, and this is kind of where I want to get a little bit behind the scenes if possible, is how was the process of kind of, the potential draft process and the free agent situation as well? How does that go? And how do you eventually end up in a situation signing with the Dolphins? How do those phone calls and discussions go about?
So it really started, it started a little bit my junior year. Scouts used to come to practice and stuff like that, but they can only talk to the seniors because I know it's like coming from a D2, you're not going to be a junior and just be leaving early. So they talked to a lot of the seniors, but they always kept their eyes on me. So once my senior year came around, like we didn't play the COVID year. So when my senior year actually came around, they started coming to practices during fall camp and talking to me a lot. So we kind of kept in contact throughout the whole season. It was like a lot of scouts were coming through. Then going to the Hula Bowl, I talked to a lot of scouts there. And then kept working out after my pro day. That's when a lot of the phone calls started coming, like private workouts, visits and stuff like that. And a lot of guys like talking to me and my agent had like 6 or 7 round. Like that was the round that they thought I was gonna go in, but it doesn't always work out like that. So like the draft came around, there was like a lot of teams calling me and my agent saying, just saying the same thing, like this is the grade we have on them 6th or 7th round. And Miami, I didn't really talk to Miami a lot during that whole process. Like it was teams that I was talking to constantly since my season started, and Miami wasn't really one of them. So they came around. I think my first contact with Miami was probably, I want to say like 3 days before the draft. Like I zoomed. One of their coaches called my agent and said he wanted to get on the Zoom call with me. So we talked to him, and he was just basically telling me they don't have a lot of draft picks and stuff like that because they did a trade, but they would love to have me on their team if I end up not getting drafted. And obviously the first day was the first round, and then the second day was second or third. So my eyes were set on going in the third day in the 4th to 7th round. But when it started getting to the 6th round, a lot of teams started just throwing offers at me. And a lot of them that did throw those offers were the ones that were saying that they possibly could draft me in the 6th or 7th. So when I was seeing them draft like other corners, so I'm like, if y'all told me y'all was gonna draft me, sis, why not draft me then? And y'all drafting other corners. So when the draft ended, before the draft even ended, like those same teams already started giving me offers and stuff like that. But I had my heart set on Miami if I didn't get drafted, so it was an easy pick.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back to go forward again here, and you spoke earlier about the chip on the shoulder of not getting that big D1 offer.
Yeah.
Do you feel similarly about being an undrafted free agent rather than a 6th or 7th round draft pick?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get drafted, but anybody can get cut. So whether you get drafted, it would have felt good to get my name called on. It was definitely, but I like the situation I'm in. I like the team I'm with. It's gonna be a great competition. So I feel like anybody. I mean, like I said, whether you got drafted or not, you still have to come in and prove yourself. So being drafted to getting undrafted is like you still have to compete. So whether I got drafted or not, I was gonna still have to come in and do the same thing I'm gonna have to do now. It's just you get a little less on the signing bonus. That's really it.
No, I can understand that. But hey, listen, there's a lot of undrafted free agents in the Hall of Fame, so
yeah, exactly.
It's been done before and it will happen again. So you never know, and fingers crossed. Okay, great. So, when you're talking to the Dolphins, and they say, if you're not drafted, we'd love to get you. Obviously this is Mike McDaniel's first year with the Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan myself, so very excited about the signing of you and getting you into Miami. It's an incredibly talented secondary room.
Yeah.
The Byron Joneses, the Xavier Howards, and everybody else that they have there.
Yeah.
How excited are you about joining kind of a cast of characters like that? And what has defensive coordinator Josh Boyer kind of said to you in terms of how you could fit into this defensive system?
I'm personally, I'm real excited to be around that much talent. It's gonna give me an opportunity to learn from the older guys and get tips and what makes them good, and I kind of how to carry myself in the NFL and day-to-day routine, what do they do and stuff like that. And talking to the defensive coordinator, he had a great vision for me. That's really why I went there. He just talked to me about playing a lot of nickel, being versatile, and my ability to play a lot of man coverage, because I know Miami they probably blitz more than anybody else in the NFL. So I know it's gonna come down to just playing a whole lot of man, and I feel like that's my strong skill set. So he just told me to come in, there's opportunities for me to play, just compete, just like how it would be anywhere else.
And yeah, I mean, when I look at the Dolphins kind of last season and on the back end, a bit of a tough start following beating the Patriots in week 1, and then had an incredible run towards the end of the season and only just really missed out on the playoffs. So this is not just a talented team, but a good team.
It's a great
joining.
Team. Yes, sir.
With the opportunity to play and to win games.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you'd never been to Florida until you'd been to Orlando. Have you been to Miami before? How excited are you to kind of get down there and check out Miami as well?
Now I'm excited to get to Miami, but I know what kind of city it is too, so I'm gonna have to, just lock in and focus in on what I'm there to do.
I mean, yeah, it looked like a party scene there this weekend with the Formula One, the F1 racing down there in Miami this weekend.
Nah, but I'm excited to get down there though. It looks like it looks like a beautiful city and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get down there. But I know what I'm there for.
Of course, and looking at this new kind of coaching staff that they have this year with Mike McDaniel at the helm. Obviously there's been a lot of talk, and you referenced earlier the Dolphins didn't have many draft picks, and a big reason for that was because they traded for Tyreek Hill. And so obviously in your position, not only are you walking into an incredibly talented defensive back situation, and that secondary is really deep with talent, but equally the guys that you're going to be practicing against are incredibly talented wide receivers.
Exactly.
How are you feeling about the challenge of working with, but also against the likes of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle?
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I feel like I'm gonna compete. I'm just excited, man, to get down there and compete. It's gonna be football at the end of the day. So just get down there, competition. I feel like going against him in practice is gonna make the games a little bit more easier.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
And then in terms of goals for yourself, do you set goals for yourself on a regular basis, on season by season, year by year, and what does success look like for you in kind of the next year or so?
Success would be my lowest goal right now is just making a 53-man, but just playing. I know it's the NFL. You're gonna have to play a lot of special teams, just being a first-year player and stuff like that. But just making that 53-man is really the only goal I have in mind right now.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, make that 53-man, and everything is gonna come. It's gonna come from that. You make 53-man, then you set another goal for yourself. You don't want to just set too many goals and work on one thing at a time.
And if you were going to do a kind of comparison for Dolphins fans out there in terms of what they can expect from you, do you have people in the NFL that you feel like, I have a similar skill set to him, I play in a similar style to him, and what can Dolphins fans expect from you on the field?
I'm gonna compete every play. I play a lot of good man, so I want to say guys like any slot corners like Kenny Moore, those kind of guys. Chauncey Gardner from the Saints. Who's another guy? Mike Hilton from the Bengals. Just like slot corners, I'm a play man, physical, tough. I can tackle, and I can do a lot of special teams, and I can return kicks also.
Yeah, so I saw that was a big part of what you did at A&M Commerce was that you did
Yeah,
return kicks and punts and so on. And so,
exactly.
you know, as somebody who's really not played the game a whole lot, in the playground, like you said, we played it a little bit in the UK,
Yeah,
but never with helmets and pads on. The thought of, waiting for the ball to arrive to you and then having to try and run past 11 people who are trying to take your head off, basically, is a terrifying thought in my head. But obviously for you, the thrill and the
nah.
accelerate and the excitement of that, that it's got to be amazing when that kind of works out. And is that something that you want to kind of bring to the Dolphins as well, an
Yeah,
opportunity to be a returner?
Yeah, most definitely. If they give me the opportunity, I would definitely take it. I would love that opportunity to be a returner. But yeah, when my first time returning kicks was my senior year, and I only did it one time during the game, and yeah, that was terrifying because it's like the ball's in the air for so long, and so many because you have to look at the ball, then look at the people running at you, look at the ball, look at the people running at you. So it's like it's back and forth, and then at last minute you catch it, and it's like sometimes it might just be two people right in your face. You got to make a miss, or you might catch it sometimes, and you thought a guy was kind of far, but he closed that space real good. So as soon as you catch it, he's hitting you as soon as you catch the ball. So nah, but there is a thrill to it, and it's a lot of fun though.
I can only imagine, honestly, like, to be able to move as fast as you feels
Yeah,
incredible, obviously, but
yeah.
equally, the guys chasing you are not slow either, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, most definitely. So it's like a lot of competition. You just trying to run away from everybody. But you do got blockers though, so that kind of helps.
Yeah, and the Dolphins have had success on special teams in the past,
Yeah,
and been a team that is really looking to kind of build on previous successes last season as they go on to this year. Have you had a chance to kind of chat with any of your future teammates yet, and have people reached out to you and welcomed you to the team?
not from a player standpoint, just like their personnel and stuff like that, coaches, and I mean we had a Zoom call with all the rookies on there, like all the Dolphins rookies, and we kind of introduced ourselves, kind of got a little background story on everybody, but yeah, that was about it.
Nice, nice, nice. And so rookie minicamp you said starts later this week.
Yeah, I report Thursday morning. I don't know when. I think it starts at Saturday,
Sure.
ends Monday, or it might start Friday and end Monday. I'm not sure, but it starts this week.
And obviously, we spoke earlier about keeping family close, and now they're, a couple of states away, from Miami
Yeah,
to Texas, I guess. Obviously, your parents and whole family must be incredibly proud of this whole journey of yours.
yeah,
How has it really been for them being, football parents, I guess? Because equally, if football was alien to you from Ivory Coast, I'm sure it was absolutely alien to your parents as well.
yeah. Nah, most definitely. They're doing their best to try to understand it a little more these days. At first, they didn't understand nothing at all, but they're doing a better job of understanding football more. But they're really excited for me, just like any other parent would be for their kids. They just want to see me happy and doing what I love.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, from my personal experience, the first time when I was watching the NFL back in London, first time I saw
Yeah,
a safety and someone
yeah,
got 2 points, I nearly lost my mind. And I had no idea what was going on. So I have sympathy with your parents in that
yeah.
situation because like I said, there's a lot of rules to learn and there's a lot going on.
Man,
So
nah, most definitely.
I think yeah, I'm struggling to think of anyone else that I've ever heard coming from the Ivory Coast to the NFL. And I mean, there
Uh,
are. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I was watching Hard Knocks, if I'm not mistaken, last year with the Cowboys. There was a defensive
Oh, of
end.
course, Azur Kamara. Yes, great
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, what a guy. Yeah, and you better knowledge than me. There you go. So that's good.
yeah,
But no, what really why I was going with that is obviously I've seen international kind of games become such a big thing
yeah.
in the NFL. I was at the London games just this past season. Now they've announced they're going to Germany this season, and obviously Mexico City as well. And equally, you've seen in another sport like the NBA, they do the NBA Africa games.
Yeah.
Is that something that potentially in your future you'd like to be involved with? Trying to grow the game internationally as well, and potentially back in your home country as well.
Yeah, I mean that would be great because that would give people a lot of opportunities and stuff like that. That would be definitely if I'm ever in that like in a position to make that happen. Yeah, I'll definitely push for it.
Good man. Well, listen.
But the thing about football being in like African countries or a little bit more less developed countries, it's like it costs to play football, like buying a helmet, shoulder pads, stuff like that. Like that's really the biggest part. So it'll be from like the money aspect. But if we could make it happen, most definitely.
Well, listen, man, I think I speak for all of us at Unwrapped when I say, thank you so much for taking this time
Yes, sir.
to chat to us. We're really excited for the Dolphins to have you. And, I know
Yes,
there's
sir.
Dolphins fans across the world who, are just really excited to be
Yeah.
adding another person to this team. And, from me being kind of an international fan to you being
Yes,
an
sir.
originally international player, I can't wish you, any more luck than fingers crossed you make the 53 man. And, we really hope you have, an incredible career because, it would be an amazing story to continue. It's an incredible story up to this point. But from the Ivory Coast to Euless, Texas, to Division II to the NFL is a bit of a once in a lifetime story.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe one day we could see a movie made out of it, not like The Blind Side? That's something that could happen.
Yeah, if somebody reached out and tried to make a movie, I'll be with it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
All right. So basically, yeah. Okay. I'll start typing the script now, and we'll get it onto Hollywood, and then we'll be set.
Hey, man, whenever you're ready, just let me know.
All right, man. Well, yeah, I'm going to end this broadcast here right now. So just, real quick, thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been Callum Squires with Kader Kohou, Miami Dolphins defensive back. And thanks for checking us out here on Unwrapped Sports, and we'll see you soon.
Sir.